It's one of the most beautiful days of the whole spring, the nicest Sunday almost anyone can remember. As we open our scene, we are settling into a forest. It's a forest in the Buckhorn Mountains. It is right off of Orc Run Stream and Orc Run Prairie. It would be wonderful. Our friends would love to be camping in Orc Run Prairie. The problem is the area has really gotten heavy in the gnoll problem. There's a lot of gnolls in this area. The street name for Orc Run Stream and Orc Run Prairie is actually the Gnoll Skull Capital, and that is because a lot of people love to come out and hunt gnolls here. And if you're an adventurer, you want to get some miles under your belt, yeah, fighting gnolls, you can find them up at Orc Run Prairie. So our friends, they're camping, but they couldn't really stay in the prairie. They're actually set back in the woods, but still they want to be close to the prairie. And we'll come back to why in just a moment. Let's meet our three campers.
Y'all hear anything?
I just hear you breathing so loud.
Listen, I got asthma, and I can't help that I breathe loud.
Listen, how many times have I told you to? You cannot be arguing while we are on a hunt.
Well, I can't help it. It's in my nature to
Enid,
argue with my
Enid,
brother.
you look at me right in the eyes. All right? I
Yes.
know you can help it.
Okay.
So Boot breaks the fourth wall and turns and looks at the camera, kind of in the style of the 2010s comedy shows on NBC. And he goes, "Hey y'all, my name's Boot. I'm a dwarven ranger. I like hunting. I like my family, and I like light beer. And you look at Boot, and Boot is ex-dwarven military, so he always likes to wear any chance he gets. He likes to wear his armor that he wore back in the day. He has red hair that's kind of it's like long red hair, but he keeps it tied up in a man bun. And then he has a red beard with just like a long kind of braided mustache kind of coming down. And then he just sits there, and he always has his he carries a long bow that he uses to hunt with. And he does have asthma.
Well, Enid doesn't care about Boot's asthma because she thinks that he milks it. Enid is a dwarven barbarian, the older sister to Boot. She's pretty short and stout. She's not the type of dwarven lass to have a beard. She keeps it pretty clean shaven. She too has red hair. She carries herself very proudly, and you'll oftentimes see her wearing a South Carolina t-shirt of some sort with a flag on it, or a Southern Tide thing with bootcut jeans and hiking boots. That's her normal outfit.
Very nice.
Yes.
So as the camera pans up away from Enid, it goes over, and we see just the wrinkliest, oldest half-orc woman. And she turns to the camera, and it freeze frame, and you just see Ma appear next to it. Hi, my name is Gretchen McCall. Most folks around here just call me Ma, as I take care of almost everyone around here. Seems like none of these people can take care of themselves. And yes, these two are my dwarf babies. I found these two dwarves after a hunt went wrong, and I raised them as my own. And I take them up, and I am now their grandmother. So what I do? Well, I do a little bit of magic as I I lost my husband, and I sure did make a pact with a demon down in the hells to be able to get the power to kill all these werewolves. So I've been, just making my way as an old lady hunting.
Very
I'm sorry, Ma. We'll keep it down.
Yeah. Because I don't need you guys getting eaten up.
We ain't gonna get eaten up, Ma.
You
We've
don't
done this
know-
tons of times.
Her fears are valid.
I'm sorry. You're right. We'll hush. But I
You're
can't
not-
help that I breathe loud.
You're not going to get eaten up until the time that you do get eaten up. So I don't want to hear nothing.
All right. I'm sorry, Ma.
And as for your asthma, slow and steady.
Slow and steady.
Go ahead. I'm going to need everybody to roll me nature checks.
All right. Cool, natural 1. Great start.
So we're hearing that Ma is not much of an outdoorsman.
No.
That's
I got a
12.
I got a 15, but -1, so I got a 14.
all right, cool. So, Boot, you are the one who pushed to have a camping trip. So you were excited to go camping. Enid is on board. It's something you guys enjoy doing. But Boot, you were particularly interested in coming out here to Buckhorn Mountain and coming out to Orc Run Prairie, especially because Orc Run Prairie is a well-known spot to see normies. Normies are, most people don't pay much attention to them. Boots always had a bit of an affinity for the normies. Now, the normies are, normies are ephemeral shapes that appear. It's often when in full moons. It's when the sun is just right. You can see them. There's certain locations that seem to have a lot of normies. What happens with a normie is, if you're in the right place at the right time, and sometimes it's the right frame of mind. Sometimes you just your eyes are glazed over the right way. You can see these ephemeral figures just moving across the landscape. You can look right through them, but it's almost an outline. There's a lot of talk about what are the normies? Why do we sometimes see, a shimmering building that's not there? Why do we see these shimmering just outline figures moving around? What are they doing? The prevailing theory seems to be that the normies are some sort of a magical recording. Is a civilization from hundreds or thousands of years ago that somehow was captured, recorded in a way that the recording plays back. And every now and then you can see into the past, or maybe into the future. That's another idea, but those people are crazy. But the people that are mostly listened to are the idea that that normies are a civilization that used to exist, and in some sort of a magical incident, because magic used to be much more common than it is today. The magic in the world was so much stronger centuries and especially millennia ago that maybe this is when magic started to dwindle. Maybe that was when the turn happened. We don't know, but regardless of what caused the normies, they're beautiful. It's gorgeous to see these almost angel-like shapes just moving about, and they walk through walls. Things have been built that weren't there maybe in their time, but that's almost like seeing a rainbow, where it's a special treat. It's something that mom stops and points out to the kids. Look at the normies, there they are. And sometimes the family would just stop and watch them go about their lives until they kind of flicker out or fade away, or a cloud passes over the sun. Boots always loved the normies, and always loved to find the normies. And Orc Run Prairie is a place that we are known to see normies. It's not guaranteed, it's not always, but it is known, honestly, that Sunday is the day to see normies at Orc Run Prairie. And that's just historically. Boot, you've been out a number of times before to see the normies here. You wanted to be there early and just kind of hang out in the area. That's why you braved the Knolls. Otherwise, you'd go camp somewhere else. But for you, it's worth the risk of the Knolls, especially when you've got Enid and Ma with you, to be able to maybe see some normies in the prairie. And so the day you started off, first thing this morning, you're kind of staying in the wood line because you don't want to mark yourself in case there's anybody looking across the prairie. But you haven't seen anything so far, but you feel like today might be a good day.
I'm telling you, if you just wait, it's gonna be. It is beautiful. It's like, I mean, I know you guys have seen normies before, but I'm telling you, this spot. I heard this spot is supposed to be like. It's supposed to be like the biggest normie sighting that I just hear it's amazing.
Yeah, I've heard that too. Is there any beers in the cooler still?
Yeah, I mean, I got up in the middle of the night and I was thirsty, but there might be like one or two, I think.
Fine.
So you have been obsessed with this normie culture ever since you were young.
But it's just they're just so cool, and like they're the machine, like they're like all these automaton things. Like
you got your head all wrapped up in a fantasy world. You gotta live here in the real world.
It's not, Ma. It's not fantasy. It's like the past. It's like it's where we
I
came
heard it's
from.
the future.
Ain't it?
Oh, nobody knows it's the future.
I've heard some really good prevailing theories that it's actually glimpses of the future.
Yeah, well, that's insane.
And if we wanted to see the future, we'd have eyes on the back of our heads.
But then that would be eyes to see the. Okay, Ma, you're right. Whatever.
And I'm gonna kind of turn away from that. I'm gonna fix my eyes back out in the horizon. Probably looking. Not really looking for gnolls. I'm definitely looking for normies. But
Michael, roll me a perception check. Let's see if you pick anything up.
Finally, one of my characters has decent perception. Dirty 20.
Oh yeah. So much to your delight, you turn around, look through the trees, and you see a normie building. It's one story. It's got a sloped sort of roof. It's hard to see a lot of detail. Like I said, this is sort of mostly a shimmering kind of outline. But it's clearly a building. It's got a sort of like a cupola up at the front, like an elevated part that kind of stands up on like a tower. Almost like, so you've got this this arched roof, just like you would on a normal house, and at the front of it there's this tower that kind of rises up a little bit. It's like I said, this thing's about one story. It's probably I don't know, 200 feet by 50 feet, floor plan, something like that. And like I said, it's one story tall with this sort of a raised up sort of tower at the front, and you're just standing there and you can see it. You can clearly see it, and then you start to see normies sort of flickering into existence. And they're just milling around outside this building, and you see people, normies that are rolling these circles. So it's almost like a normie. Oh golly, what it would be like? It's like a huge normie like shield. It's like, but it's ridiculous. The shield is as big as the normie, and like they're rolling these things around, and then you see other places. You see these little like just floating lines that are about waist high, and you're seeing these normies moving around, and they're interacting with these discs, and that's what they are. There's these big discs, and you see them interacting with these big discs, and holy crap, Boot! Like, you start to see these normie they're some sort of like normie machines, right? And they're they're just different sizes and shapes, and these normie machines are just rolling toward the building, and then probably stopping 100, 200 yards away, and then normies are coming out of the machines. It's like these machines are rolling up and producing normies, and then the normies again, they're interacting, like you see them talking. There are little normies that are running around and playing, and like, Boot, you've never even heard of somebody who saw so much normie activity at one time. Like, you've seen normies pass in and out, and it's always a thrill. And you've seen some of those sort of normie machines every now and then. But holy crap, there's probably 75 and they blink kind of in and out, but they're everywhere as you look out into the field.
Holy shit.
Ma.
I'm guessing we all see it.
Yeah. Once you,
Oh, God.
exactly. Boot sees it first, and you guys can see like his eyes widen, and then, but it's obvious there's so
my
much
God.
activity. You guys sort of see different levels of the normies flipping in and out. Because he really loves this, he's always looking for them. He's got really pretty good search engine. He's really seeing probably more than most of you guys. Go ahead, actually, Ma and Enid, roll me perception checks as well. Let's see how much you're seeing.
Is
Oh,
Boots
geez.
like that friend that's really good at finding 4-leaf clovers?
That's
except with-
exactly.
Aw.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I got a 10.
Enid got a 10. What'd you get, Ma?
I rolled a nat 2.
A nat 2. So
My eyes are going.
Boot, you're losing your mind. Enid, you see that there are normies. You're like, it seems like what people have described, like you don't see the overwhelming number. You see like half of a building kind of that flickers in and out, and you see every now and then you'll see some of these shapes that are just kind of half shapes that you can't. But every now and then you do see a full-on normie walking, or you see a normie lifting clearly a normie child or a tiny normie up over their head. You see a couple of normie, like you'll see one normie and he seems to be, or she seems to be talking, and then that one will kind of blink out, and then you'll see who they seem to be talking to, and it's just that's kind of the perception that Enid gets of this. Much less impressive than what Boot sees. And Ma, your eyes aren't what they used to be.
Starting to go.
Mostly, you can kind of maybe see a flicker when the sun, when you squint, you can kind of see that maybe there's something there. You're more happy that Boot is happy, I think.
You youngin.
Oh man. So Andy, what I know based on experience, like is it one of those things like a rainbow, like you can only truly appreciate it from afar? Like if you try to find the end of the rainbow, it just disappears because it's kind of a phenomenon? Or is it one of those things that I could run up and interact with?
You could run right through them, and you have. Like that's a common thing, is you'll be walking and then you'll just see a normie walking. You again, they're like recordings. Like they don't know you're there. They're not, you can yell at them. They're not gonna change their behavior because you're there.
Right.
You can walk directly through them, and you get like a little cool chill, almost like you're walking through a spray of mist. You know how people have like cold misters on hot days that you'll walk through, like that. That's kind of what it feels like. So you can walk right through them, and you just kind of get this little sort of a chill feeling as you walk through them. But that's it. They're completely oblivious to you. You can't interact with them. But yes, you can totally walk right up to them.
And my last question about the projections: do they make sound, or is it only visual?
Only visual.
Only visual. Okay.
Yep, it's 100% only visual.
Is it Enid's understanding that all the normies that you see are human-like?
So yes. So there has been that's obviously something that's been discussed a lot. These definitely, the normies seem to be a humanoid race. People over the centuries of seeing normies are pretty certain they are a human race. Some people argue, they say, oh no, I've seen them on 4 legs. I've seen them as big as I've seen them, as big as a horse. There's a lot of things. I've seen them 8 feet tall, and there's always conflicting information, but for the most part, everyone agrees. The vast majority of normie projections are humanoid, and actually they do think they are based on a human design, if not human themselves.
Right.
I can see why the whole future theory is a scary one to take up then.
Oh, of course. Yeah, there's definitely, the whole idea of you've got this really diverse world, and then the future is essentially homogeneous with one race. That's scary stuff. And you can imagine even the suggestion that the normies are future can be upsetting to people. And it's understandable why. But that doesn't mean that some people don't think that's a possibility that's what happens, in 1,000 years.
Yeah.
I think it is the future. I just
Sure.
think it is. Because why can't we find any of these buildings as like, ancient ruins and shit.
Because they're ancient.
Like,
They're like
you
dirt
see that little
stuff.
sparkly building right there. Why can't we go find it right where it is?
Ian, have you ever made a
Well-
sandcastle at the beach?
Duh.
Yeah,
When you go back to the
Ian.
beach the next year, is that sandcastle still there?
No, because it's made of
Okay,
sand, ball.
Exactly. And we don't know what these buildings are made of. They could be made of sand.
Yeah, they could be made of sand, Enid.
I'm just saying, I really do believe this is like the future, and it scares me.
But you're not looking away because the number of normies just continues to increase.
So
And they are just clustering together around these discs and just standing out in the field. And the field is just filling up with the normie boxes, and then with the normies sort of projections there. Some of them are sitting, and you realize that the disc may be some kind of a table because now normies are kind of sitting around them.
Yeah.
You see about a half dozen normies appear from the side of the ephemeral building, and they're normies in gowns. You see long flowing robes or gowns, sort of projections around the normies as they appear from the side of the building. And so, man, Boot, you
wizards.
are totally into this.
Man, they got like, y'all see them wizards over there. Okay, and then Boot. So I want to like a little thing about Boot, and I think it's part of his infatuation with the normies. Boot, when he was a little kid, I feel like he was out like hunting. He was probably maybe had got his first bow, and he was out and he came across a normie projection of like this lady. She had like blonde hair kind of pulled back in a ponytail, and she was wearing a baseball cap with like a polo tucked into like black pants, and she was holding up this cup, and on the cup it had like this cardboard band around it, and it just said Marianne on the cup, and she was like holding out this cup and like just kind of like waving this cup around, and he just like, as a 7-year-old dwarf, fell in love with this blonde girl, this blonde lady, who he thinks her name is Marianne. So ever since then, anytime he sees normies, and he's always looking for Marianne, and since then he's named every single bow that he's ever received Marianne.
Yeah.
So
and,
every single one of his bows is called Marianne.
And it makes sense why Boot would be so infatuated with normies, because honestly, that is one of the clearest normie projections that you could ever see. It can happen.
Yeah, he was just like in love. It was like his first crush.
It makes sense that he would love this, because most people, like I said, are somewhere around Enid's level of seeing normies. You know what I mean? But obviously, this is a gift that Boot kind of has. Is for whatever reason, he can just see them better than most people. And this, right at the age of 7, which is a really developmental time for Boot, he just had like the most clear normie experience that most people ever have in their whole life. But never since then has he seen anything that detailed. And now is not that detailed. I mean, he's seeing basic outlines, but that's kind of it.
Enid, do you see that? Do you see them?
Do I? Do I see this?
Roll me another perception check, Enid. Let's see if you see them.
That's gonna be a 7.
No, you do not. You do not see them.
I don't see what you're talking about.
Let's
you
get
know my
closer
eyes
then.
ain't what they used to be. You gotta describe them to me.
They're like, I don't know. They look like they're wearing like, I don't know. They're wearing like long robe, like gown sort of things.
You
Like,
think one
let's
of
get
them is
closer.
Marianne?
Maybe they could be from a monastery.
So,
Let's get a closer look.
As you try to convince everybody to move closer, the tone of the normies seems to change. Suddenly they become more active than you've ever seen. And those that are sitting start to stand, and it's almost like at first it looks like a dance, like you're seeing them wave hands, and the ones that are, and some of them are trying to help the other ones who seem sort of hunched over, trying to help them up from the table, and then they're dancing, and and then you can see it's really kind of violent, and you're wondering if they're being attacked by a spell of some sort. You know what I mean? And then they're starting to run.
But I wouldn't get too close to, because if it is like a memory or something, and it is like spells, my limited understanding of spellcraft, like maybe there's some spell juju in them things. So you should probably come back.
What in the name of Asmodeus are you seeing?
You remember how Cooter died? You remember how he
Cooter
died like
died.
having a seizure, and he's just kind of like shaking. You know, they're kind of. It looks like that. It don't look right. It don't look right.
It's something's. I think it's them people in the gowns. They probably like cast. I'm getting a closer look. I don't care.
Hey, Maul, roll me a perception check.
All right. I got a new dice, so hopefully this will help me roll a little higher. Oh, I got a 6 plus 1.
So
that's a 7.
No, you're still largely in the dark. Yeah, you're still squinting.
I brought my reading glasses, but I didn't bring my farsighted glasses.
Enid, roll me another perception check.
I gotta retire this one. This one needs to go to dice jail. I got 4.
All right, cool. So you guys are still just kind of squinting your eyes, trying to see the normies. Boot, you are watching intently, and you see some of the normies start to kind of flicker out, and then you see some of them start to kind of go to their knees and sort of collapse and things like that. And as you're watching and then you see one of them break loose, Boot, and the normie is running, and you think this normie is running at you. That's what you think is happening. But as the normie sort of sprints through the tables and everything, it sort of veers off up. It's not running to the building. It is running into the forest, which you're standing in, but it veers off enough that it's going to go into the forest, probably about 100 feet north of you, maybe 150 feet north of you. And you're like, oh man, this normie's going to run into the woods. And as he's running towards you, you hear crackling of the leaf litter and things, and that's weird because normies don't make sound. But you hear crackling of the leaf litter, and as he's getting close, he's about 30 feet or so from the forest. Out of the forest comes a normie unlike anything you've seen before. It's about 2.5 feet tall. It's about 4 to 4.5 feet long. It's on the ground. It's got a very insectoid-like movement, and this thing you hear crackles and pops, and then it goes, and then there's silence, and then you see this other normie emerge from the forest, and spring at the normie running into the forest, and there is a brief struggle. And the normie coming into the forest separates into 2 pieces, and the upper half, the torso of the normie, flies off to one side, and the legs fall to the ground. And you see this normie like you've never seen before move towards the building.
Damn.
What are you saying, Boot?
I don't know. I really don't know. But I'm gonna keep looking. And can I follow to the building? I think Boot's imagination would try to he gets wrapped up. He's probably one of them kids knows in the books, and he's gonna try and follow the thing. And if anything, try to go into the building.
You gotta keep an eye on your younger brother. Look at how he lets his imagination get away from him.
I know. We got Maul. I don't feel comfortable leaving you here, but I don't
Well,
feel
I can
comfortable
handle
letting him
myself. Go
I
follow
mean,
Enid.
all right. Okay. I'm going. I'm going. So Enid is going to follow Boot.
Awesome. So you guys are following the ant, and so from where it sort of came out, because it was like I said, it was a little ways north of you as the normie thing sort of emerged from the forest and split the humanoid normie in half, and so now we're talking about a good 250 feet or so, probably about a football field, a little bit shorter, to the ephemeral building, and you guys are sort of stalking behind this. I'm assuming Boot really wants to see. He's sort of moving towards the building, and the fact that this normie thing is moving to the building is all kind of pretty exciting. There's some action to kind of look at, and you guys are moving in that direction. As the normie insectoid approaches the front of the building, but you see it go up these ephemeral stairs, and you see the doors to the building kind of shaking, and then one of them gives way and opens up, and the insectoid creature enters the building and is gone to you.
All right, so I walk up and I try to put my foot on that first step and try to.
Yep, and you're just standing in the field. You've got an ephemeral step kind of running into your calf.
Into my calf?
Yeah, your foot's on the ground. You look back at Ma, and you see movement behind Ma. Not ephemeral movement. You see something moved behind Ma.
So like a danger whistle, or like he would just yell like on your back.
Okay.
And what's my speed? 25 feet of movement. So I would just start dashing back.
You're dashing back to Ma, right?
And I'm drawing an arrow, and then I would probably immediately I would make the call and just move, and I would let Enid follow. I would assume that she would follow, hearing the danger call.
Yeah, Enid, roll me your perception check to see how quick you pick this up.
14.
You are very aware that Boot is now screaming and doing a danger whistle and full-on sprinting back to Ma. And that's all you see.
And I'm sticking with Boot.
Yeah, so you guys take off at a sprint. I want everybody to go ahead and roll me initiative.
Oh, God. I don't know what we're fighting yet. I swear to God, if it's one of them goddamn
I'm taking a new dice.
13 for Boot.
All right.
Enid got a 19.
Hell, thank God.
Look, Ma's getting old, and her bones just enjoying some work the way they used to. So she's going to have to turn around, but it's going to take her a little while to stand back up and turn around. And that's why she rolled a 2.
Oh, God.
All right, so, all right, cool. So Ma, as you see them sprinting back towards you and you hear that danger whistle, you start to move, and now there is motion around you. In fact, you see motion suddenly. It's pretty quiet, but now it's right on top of you, and you're hearing leaf litter cracking, and there are ants everywhere. And I mean giant ants. These, like I said, these ants are about 2.5 feet tall off the ground. They're about 4.5 feet long, wicked black pinchers up on their head, segmented body, and they are all around you. And your first thought is that you're going to be overrun, but they don't seem to be interested in you. As they move through the forest, they are moving past you along the edge of the forest, and then about 50 to 100 feet north of you, they make a left out into the prairie and disappear. That's what you see.
We got some ants, and I don't think the normal mixture is going to be taking care of these ones. We're going to have to do something, because these are big ones. I'm going to kind of start chasing them. I'm going to get closer to them, and I don't want to just instigate a fight if I don't have to.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
So I think I'm going to get to the tree line and kind of like just stay out of like their radar. Oh, go
The
ahead.
tree line where they're disappearing, or the tree line where you are?
I want to kind of get closer to where they're disappearing, but
All right, cool. So you're going to use your movement to kind of move away from them and north through the woods. Is that what I'm hearing?
yes.
All right, perfect. So that's your turn. Boot, you and Enid continue to dash towards Ma. Is that correct?
Yeah. Hey, Ma, wait up before you start. Ma.
Yeah. Enid, are you just huffing and puffing, or are you in this?
I'm huffing and puffing and just shaking my head
All right, cool.
because, like, Ma, come on.
Yeah. So as you guys are huffing and puffing, all that you have seen so far, and not as clearly as Boot, but well enough, you saw these normie insects like the one you were following appear, and you now see them picking up normie bodies. And again, they're fanning out, and it's a big field, the prairie, and so this is all sort of taking some time as they move and start to gather up normies and get them onto their backs and things like that. So that's what's going on. So that's the ant's turn. Ma, at this point, you're still using your movement, I'm assuming, to move towards where the ants are disappearing.
Yeah, I'm trying to just get a good view of what's happening because I'm just seeing them vanish, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, you're just seeing them vanish. So they are turning away from you and then disappearing. And you are moving towards where they're disappearing. And as you get close to where they're disappearing, they are walking and then turning and then just disappearing. And you are moving yourself so that you're moving into line with where they're disappearing.
Mm-hmm.
And as you move into line, right foot, left foot, all of a sudden, you can see the building that Boot was talking about. And I don't mean that you see an ephemeral outline. There is a white ass building right up there that you can see. And when you've stepped this way, the ants are not disappearing anymore. They are fanning out into the field, which is not the prairie. This is mowed, cut down green grass. And that is what you were looking at as these ants enter into a prairie that is mowed with a white building and tables with white tablecloths splattered in blood. And you see bodies, human bodies, laying on the ground.
Ain't it, Boot? Looks like we got some work ahead of us.
So that is what you see. So are you taking an action?
Yeah. Are there ants within? Now I can see that they're hostile towards people.
No, you can't, because there aren't any people moving. No, they're picking up corpses.
Okay.
And from what you can see, as you look straight out into the prairie, there are corpses laying around. These ants are picking up and gathering.
Okay. Then let me hold my action till Enid and Boot get a little bit closer.
All right, cool. So you are. That's where you.
Or not hold my action, but yeah, I will just move up here and.
Okay, cool. So you're moving up and peering and sort of peering in, and as you peer in, more of the building appears. It is a white wooden temple. The tower on the front is a type of spire. There's a big cross at the top of it. Like you can clearly see this thing as a temple. You see the things. You see these machines of different colors that are just stopped over at the far side of what was the prairie. You're doing that thing where you're looking and it's mowed green grass and tables and dead bodies, and then you're doing this and it's just waist high grass, and Boot and Enid running towards you going, Mama, like that, and then you look back and green grass and ants picking up corpses, and then you look back and it's just open prairie with Boot and Enid running as hard as they can.
What in the nine hells is this?
Yeah.
I've been seeing it all, but I ain't seen this.
Yeah. And so that's what you're doing. Boot and Enid, you are at this point going to be about, because Ma has moved north towards you, that has cut the distance down, right? Because you were running sort of, running straight to her, but as she's moved north, that has shortened the distance you have to run. And so you guys are about 50 feet away from Ma. But you are close enough at this point, Boot. You can you have a much better picture of what was moving in the forest. You see the insectoids, and your mind is exploding because you see an ant-like insectoid creature, and then you are putting that together with the ant-like insectoid ephemeral creature Normie that you just saw, and your head is exploding. It's your turn, Boot.
Boot's mind is blown, but he also loves his ma. So he's kind of looking this, and he's going wide-eyed, and I think he's scared and excited. But I'm gonna use my dash action to make sure I get to Ma.
All right, cool. So you run on to Ma. Roll me another perception check as you run.
Ma.
They're running right through here.
21.
Oh.
I'm rolling great today, man.
Oh, yeah, you're crushing it. Out of the corner of your eye, you see the wizards have lost. The last one is being dragged away. 2 more of the digger normie insects have burst out, and 4 looks like normie warriors are trying to square off against those beings.
I use my dash action to get to Ma. When he's running, he'll see the wizards go down. He'd be like, "Oh, damn, that sucks. Guess today was their day."
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, that's a very Boot thing. Is like this is almost more entertainment to you because you're still like you haven't actually processed this as anything other than a recording of history. But the seeing the things and then seeing normie things, I don't think that you could process this in the seconds it is taking you to run to Ma. I think you're still running under the idea that this is wrong, and Ma is surrounded by creatures, and this is Gnoll country. I think those are all fighting for places in your brain. I think you're purely on instinct, honestly.
Yeah, for sure. All right.
Cool. Enid, it is your turn.
Using my dash action, I'm gonna keep running. I need to make it up to Ma and Boot. That's literally the only thing on my mind right now.
So so you and Boot continue to run to Ma. At this point, the normie insects are moving back towards Ma, and they're carrying these corpses, and that's what they're doing. Ma, as the insects are starting to sort of again, just you don't even see this; they're just gone, and you're looking through this hole, and you're seeing them in the real world, in what we call the domestic plane. You're seeing them in the domestic plane, and you see them picking up the insects or picking up the bodies, and now they're starting to kind of head back towards you. And it is your turn. What do you want to do?
I'm going to step through.
All right. You.
Hey everyone, this is Dustin Bays. I play Sphere, Bert, and Boot. I, along with my fellow cast members, Maddie Fuller, who's playing Amari, Roy, and Enid, Nate Oulette, who's playing Scarf, Jay Lachey, and Ma, and of course our amazing DM, Dr. Andy Roark, want to say thank you so much for checking out our podcast. We've been working so hard on this over the past few months and are beyond excited to finally be sharing this with you. If you want, you can listen to the first 3 episodes right now on your favorite podcasting app. And if you're thinking to yourself, man, I would love to watch a video version of this, well, great news. We are premiering those live on Facebook and YouTube. First episode's coming out August 31st. Second episode's coming out September 7th. And third episode is premiering September 14th, all at 7 p.m. Episode 4 will be released in audio and visual format September 21st. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch at BragPod, that's BRAGPOD, and then find us on YouTube by searching Blue Ridge Adventurer'S Guild. Thank you, and now back to the show.
I'm going to step through.
All right. You
finally get up to
through. And you almost get an immediate headache, and you feel that coldness that you feel when you walk through a normie. You feel that turned up to 11. It is just like this goose pimple creating coldness. It's almost like you stepped into, if you could take a swimming pool right now in early spring and stand it up and step into it, like that's what it feels like as you step through this hole. And you almost get a bit of a headache because that happens at the exact same time the entire world clicks like that. It's almost like your perspective changes literally 1 degree. And all of a sudden you are standing in this field of mown grass, and as you're looking around and you're turning your head, that this is infinite. It's no longer looking through a window. You are standing in the middle of it. And again, your brain is trying to process everything, and the building is over there. And as you turn around, the forest looks pretty much the same. The stream that runs past the forest is exactly the same, but you can't see. Unless you turn all the way around, you can't see where you came from. And all of a sudden, you hear an explosion off to your right. Boom! And you look over to your right, and one of the normies, that's not a normie anymore. It's a man, and he is holding out his hand, and he has a black object in his hand that just exploded. And
I've never seen magic like that before.
well, I mean, you think he must be trying to scare the insect, which is a giant insect that's 6 feet out of the ground with this hard shell and carapace. You think he must be trying to scare the insect away, but it did not work. Nothing seems to happen there. And you see 4 human warriors trying to battle these two digging, burrowing insects that have erupted from the ground, and you see a human woman in a white dress. You hear her screaming as soon as your ears kind of get over the sound of the explosion, and then you see her clawing at the ground as she disappears into a hole that is in the ground, and that is what you see.
And are Boot and Enid, have they caught up? Are they?
Boot and Enid are gone.
I think I'm gonna try and just kind of lay low and just scope everything out for now, because I don't know if I should join. If this is a fight I want to be joining,
Okay.
I probably want to stay back. I don't know who's who. Just this isn't my. I can tell this isn't my place to just step in here.
Are you stepping back through the rift, or are you staying where you are?
I'm gonna stay where I am for now.
All right, so that's it. So that's what happens. Boot and Enid, you are sprinting, and all of a sudden Maud disappears. Like she's
Maud.
gone.
What the fuck?
Mom!
Boot, this is all your fault. I can't believe you made me go down in that fucking place trying to get in that fucking burial. It's all your fault.
Mom's gone. It's my fault.
It is.
And so you guys are hauling ass towards Ma when she takes a step forward, and then she's gone. And so you guys roll me quick, both of you roll me perception checks real fast.
It's gonna be worst one of the night, morning. 15 for Boot.
1 for Enid.
Oh yeah. So Boot, at a moment after Ma disappears, you see a normie Ma, like without a shadow of a doubt that normie is Ma. Enid, as far as you saw, Ma just blinked out of existence.
Ma's in the past.
It is your turn, and you've got about 10, 15 feet, we'll say, until you arrive where Ma was standing. If you keep running, and that's going to be half of your movement.
I'm gonna take I'm gonna go. Ma's in the past, and then I'm gonna take that half movement and get up to where I just saw Ma at.
Yeah. When you get there, a couple of things happen at once. All of a sudden, and a giant ant emerges right on top of you with a dead human body on its back. It does not attack you. It just essentially brushes you out of the way as it heads into the forest with the dead body.
Well,
and so that happens, and as soon as that is passed, as you raise your head, you see Ma hunkered down in a mowed green grass field You see white tablecloths on tables spattered with blood. You see ants with corpses either on their backs or that they're just dragging across the grass towards you and Ma. You see a white building that you immediately recognize as the ephemeral building you just walked up to, but it is real and tangible. As you move your head around, you sort of see your eyes run down the side of the building and you see beautiful stained glass windows in this white building. And then all of a sudden you just see ephemeral white building and you see ephemeral warriors fighting two ephemeral insects. Yep, you're doing exactly what Ma was doing. The whole lean to the left, lean to the right, lean to the left, lean to the right. Yep.
And I still have my action, right?
Yeah. You still so you use half your movement. You have half your movement and your action.
Oh God! All right, hey Ma, I'm coming up there, and
No,
I'm gonna step through.
Sister.
Ma, and then I'm gonna step through and like creep up to where Ma is.
So you step through, and the feeling you've experienced thousands of times before in all your normie sightings and searches. When you walk through a normie, you get the cold sensation. You get this times 1,000 goose pimples, like a slap in the face. And the next thing you know, you are in the middle of a field with mown grass, and you see exactly what Ma saw before, and that's going to be your turn. Oh wait, actually, I'll give you this. Roll me another perception check now that you've stepped through.
Yeah, is this what I think? Like, I know this is a player. Is Boot having this epiphany? Man, they keep getting worse. They're going down. 13.
All right. So you step through and you see that Ma is looking off to the right, and you follow her gaze just in time to see the real version of the ephemeral digger insect that you saw belch acid onto one of the fighters, and you hear his screams as he essentially melts to the ground. Jeez. And that's what you see. And Enid, it's your turn.
So how much movement do I have?
So you were essentially, let's say you're the same place as Boot. So a half a movement to get to where you just saw Boot doing his wave.
Yeah.
And then So half a movement to get there.
I'm gonna use the rest of my movement to get up there, and I'm gonna be like, Boot, what are you doing? Where'd you go? Ah! What's happening? Mom's gone. Boot's gone. What am I gonna do? I'm real confused.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Boot disappears right as you get to him. That's what happens.
What's happening? I'm freaking out. I'm having a panic attack. I don't understand. It was supposed to be a fine Sunday where we just hang out, watch some Norman projections, maybe kill some gnolls. I don't know what's going on.
And as you get to the spot, you turn around, and your immediate reaction is, "Oh, there's Boot," and because he's right there in front of you as you turn back around.
What the hell are you doing?
Hey, shh.
Sorry,
And then I
tarnation are you doing in there?
give her the silent look that direction.
I look.
Nothing there. It's just prairie, and it's just prairie, and like nothing.
And then I give her the see.
Should we be documenting this experience in some form? I feel like this is historically. I don't understand.
And right at this point, 3 more ants seem to magically appear on top of you, Enid. Like all of a sudden, they're ants carrying corpses, and they're just there, and they don't seem to. They're not attacking you, but they like you are right up against this space, and they just appear inches from your waist and abdomen, and kind of the one of the arms of this dead human that you've never seen before just kind of pushes you as the ant drags it past, and now you're reeling from 3 to 4 ants just pushing past you.
What the fuck?
I think we're in the past. I think we've gone back in time.
That would make sense. Ants were bigger in the past.
That don't make any sense. If they were in the past, why are they right here behind me? Why did I just get touched in the face by a dead human?
Enid, I think you might have had it backwards this whole time. We was in the future.
No, I think we're both wrong. I think this is the present. It's just
What?
like
This ain't no gift.
like
Is there
one
no
time
present?
I remember in school we was learning about like the different planes, and I wasn't paying attention because I was trying to flirt with some guy, and I was passing notes. But it's coming back to me where we was learning about like alternate planes and stuff, and I was getting real bored. But I think that might be what this is. It's
That's
not.
definitely not. That's not it, Enid. That's just as dumb as it being the future. It's clearly the past.
Oh, don't start yapping at her. I've seen some other planes, and Ma's gonna kind of do the 1,000-yard stare off into the distance for a second, remembering when she made her deal in hell. And
Oh God.
Right.
How long?
She's
How long do we wait?
catatonic.
How long do we
So
wait?
Enid, you haven't stepped through yet, correct?
Knowing that Boot and Ma are in this area, she will be hesitant, but she is going to step in and join them because she is real uncertain about the situation, but as soon as she's with everyone that she came with, she will feel more comfortable.
Okay. So you, while you're hesitating, the ants continue to drag corpses past you, and like I said, we're up at a dozen ants at this point that have dragged corpses past you and into the forest. They're doing their ants marching in a line thing, and so they are bringing the corpses past in a line, heading into the forest. And you step through. You have the frigid, goose pimply experience that Boot and Ma had, and you emerge into the plain. And she sees the building, the white building. She sees it as a place of worship. She sees the bodies. The ants are continuing to just kind of walk right past her, and then they seem to disappear now as they go past you. They disappear, and as she's looking around, the front door to the building flies open, and she hears the door swing open and bang against the wall, and this woman emerges just looking panicked. She's got a high ponytail. She has a clipboard in her hand. She is running on the most ridiculous boots you have ever seen. They are tiny, and they have these little like the smallest table legs you've ever seen right under her heels, and so she's awkward. I mean, this is clearly the worst shoes you could wear in a battle, and she's got this black thing on the side of her face, and it's got a little like leg that comes around in front of her mouth, and so she's got that thing, and she is running as fast as she can out of the chapel, and she is headed towards the machines that you see that are lined up in rows on the opposite side of what was the prairie and is now the lawn.
Do we help these people?
I think it's one of those things where you just don't interfere with natural selection.
I don't know
So
if this is
maybe
our
just let it
place.
happen.
But
But I am freaked out. But I'm ready to kill some ants if anybody else wants to kill some ants.
I guess I just don't understand. Like, cause I mean, this is happening in the normie world, but I mean, did you guys see those ants coming back to Orc Run? like I saw them in Orc Run Prairie when I was running up here. Like, this could become a problem for us. We might not just be dealing with gnolls no more out here. Like, I'm so confused. I don't know what's going on.
Well, I want to know why they're collecting dead bodies.
I mean, I'm just guessing they're hungry. But
Yeah,
Right.
seems like a thing that they'd want to eat.
yeah.
Right then, for the first time in your life, Boot and Enid, you hear this as close as you can place it as thunder. You hear an explosion, unlike anything you have heard before. And so you both look off. Ma, you've heard this sound before. You see the 4 warriors. One of them is now fallen. And one of them has fallen under a spray of acid that only Ma saw happen. And another one of the warriors is holding this. It looks like maybe it's a small wand, but he's not holding it the right way. But he's got this thing in his hand that seems to be where the thunder came from. The 2 insects that have risen up both seem unaffected by the thunder that just occurred. Across the lawn, you see the woman with the terrible shoes trying to get to one of her tries to get to one of the machines when an ant, like the others, emerges from between some of the machines and grabs the woman, removing her head quickly from her body.
Oh, well. That's what you get for wearing dumb shoes.
Dumb shoes.
She would have got to that machine by the time she needed to if she was wearing sensible shoes. I'm just saying.
That's why I taught you at a young age. I always walk out sensible shoes so you don't get in gun gap.
I ain't gonna get gat by no ant.
That's right. I don't want to see either of you getting gun gap by any ants.
So
We know.
So should we go check on those warriors?
I don't know,
Should we go
because
talk to them?
if this is the past, I don't feel like we should interfere. If this is the present,
It ain't the past.
well, I still don't know if we should interfere. This ain't, if it's not our world, but I just,
No, Boots got a good point here. Look,
The ant that removed the woman's head has left her body and is moving out from the machines and across the lawn towards the white chapel.
Does it look like they're going towards the warriors?
Headed in that direction, kind of.
Either.
Again, it's either going into the building, or it is headed over to the building to skirt around it to the warriors.
Here's where I'm at.
Warn them. Either that
Here's
or
where
kill
I'm
the
at.
ant.
either we stay and we help, or we go, because I can't now. When it was just projections, I don't care, but now I'm looking at real people, and I don't know if I can just sit by. So if we're going to let natural selection do its thing, then I think we should go. But if we're going to stay, I think we need to help.
What do you feel? You care about? I mean, this is something you've cared about your whole life, and now we're in it. Now we're living it. I think you should make the call. Boot the call.
well, here's where I'm at as your grandmother.
Yeah, Ma.
I raised you two, and I raised myself to protect innocence. Am I right? And these people
right.
over here, they don't seem like, this is something that this was a massacre. They were taken out.
Right.
And maybe, I don't know. I don't think I would feel right letting that ant get to them.
Me
The
either.
the ant continues across the lawn towards the building, and as you guys look, the warrior with the cylinder in his hand and another cylinder on his back, and the one that you can now see has a tube connecting it to the thing in his hand, is spraying green gas across the face of one of the two insects, and it is reeling and trying to withdraw back into the ground. And so that's what's happening right now.
I think we underestimated these guys, but I think we should help.
I agree.
I think we should help.
All right, let's go.
And
You
I'm
hear
gonna reach back.
You hear a crack, and the third warrior has done an Eldritch Blast, which you immediately, Maw does them all the time.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, and blows the head off of one of these insects, and it just dies where it was. And so that is something that you guys have seen. That feels like home.
That was kind of sexy, and now I'm very intrigued. So I'm going, and I'm gonna help them because I just have a feeling.
That's the right thing to do.
Yep.
All right, code or die on 3. 1,
Code
2,
or die.
3. Code or die.
Code or die.
Code or die.
A second ant emerges from the front door. It looks very similar to the ephemeral ant you pursued across the field not long ago. And now we have an ant moving across the lawn towards the white building. We have another ant that is emerging from the front door of the building, and it seems to be moving towards the noise that it just heard.
Oh,
McCall clan,
got it.
time to roll out.
Roll out.
You know the drill.
So the three of you moved to cut off the angle. Is that true?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How far away are they from us right now?
So again, it was where you guys were when you started running, but you are farther north than when you were trying to run to where Ma was. You can definitely take the angle and cut them off before they get to the corner of the building to round and come out behind the fighters who just concluded their combat.
Right.
I have 150 foot range on my longbow. So whatever I need to do, I want to move to try and get in that range.
If you take your movement of 25 feet, then you will be at the long end of your range for both of the ants as they kind of move towards the building and move around the side. The one that came out of the front door and is moving around the side will be the easier target. It's highlighted against the white background. It is a little bit closer to you just because of how the building is situated. So yeah, but both of them, the one coming from the parking lot, the one coming from the front door of the church, your call.
So if Boot is acting first, then he is gonna.
Well, let's keep the initiative that we had before.
Okay, that's what
that's
what I was wondering.
And so yeah, if unless people have a problem with that, we're just gonna keep our initiative rolling on. So it's gonna be it's gonna be Enid and then Boot and then Ma, as your initiative order. And the ant crossing the parking lot is an 11 for initiative, and the other ant is a natural 20. However, it is not paying attention to you. It does not see you. It is moving across the space, fixated on the noise from the adventurers fighting. So what we're going to say is, in this round, you guys do have surprise. But thereafter, the order is going to be ant from the church, Enid, Boot, ant from the parking lot, and then Ma. My apologies to Enid for swapping the initiative order earlier. Mind.
It's fine. It kind of made more sense because Boot was seeing more than me.
Yeah, I think
like
mechanically that was easier. I think but it wasn't a conscious choice, just so you know. All right, enough metagame chatter. Ant moving from the front door towards the corner. The other ant crossing the lawn coming from the parking lot and probably about 30 feet or so behind the first ant. Enid, it is your play. You see all of this.
Well, there's not really much I can do until I'm right up in their face with their nasty little mandibles. So I am just going to use my movement to dash.
All right, sweet. So you're running towards. Are you trying to take the angle on the one coming from the parking lot, or the one that's closer to the adventurers coming out of the church?
I'm probably gonna try to cut off the one at the church because it's closer to them.
Totally.
I'm gonna try to get there first.
And again, yeah, you've got a shorter distance than you had before because so you're farther north now, and then also you're running to the corner of the church as opposed to the center of it, and so yeah, so you get you run and you're about 75 feet away from the corner that the ant is going to when you end your dash. Yep. All right. Boot, it is your turn.
So I'm going to take my movement, get into range, like we just talked about a little bit ago, and I'm taking a shot at the one at the church because you said that was the easiest target.
All right, cool.
hit.
So you're going to use your 25 feet of movement and then longbow action at the one. All right, cool. So you will have advantage on this because this is a surprise round.
Cool. 21 to hit.
So you cleanly spear this ant as it moves along, and your arrow arcs. It's one of those long bow shots where this is not a direct shot. This is the one where you really put some arc on it, sort of calculate wind velocity, things like that, and this thing just comes right arcing down on the ant. Roll me some damage.
That's going to be a 7 damage.
All right, cool. So yeah, sure enough, this thing is a beautiful shot. It actually goes right in between two of the body segments, between the abdomen and sort of the lower thorax, and just thumps into place. The ant suddenly just stops what it's doing, and you see its black head jerk towards you, and its little mandibles just click, 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 up in front of its face.
I wink at it and
it is
do
your
the
turn.
same thing with my lips.
So yeah.
How far is Maul from the parking lot ant?
Say what?
How far is Maul from the parking lot ant?
How long? So Maul would be the parking lot ant, probably 120 feet, something like that.
120 feet. Okay.
Yeah.
Then I'm gonna that's perfect. I'm gonna try and hit it with an Eldritch Blast.
All right, long range Eldritch Blast, but Ma's got a lot of experience here.
Oh yeah, and Ma's feeling inspired. She's not gonna let this new human person that showing off Eldritch Blasts when I can show off much stronger Eldritch Blasts.
Yeah, Ma, get it.
All right, that's a 12 plus 3. Nope,
right,
plus
cool.
5. It's 18.
Wait.
17.
Yeah, absolutely. So
17.
The Ma with slow, relaxed movements brought on by decades of experience in battles raises her hand, and good old Eldritch Blast pops from her palm and flies towards the ant. Roll me some damage.
All right. Let me roll this one because it's easier to get out. Well, that's going to be a 13. I rolled a full 10.
Wow, outstanding. And Ma just blasts this ant full on side thorax and head, and just smacks this ant with a truly impressive blast. Like, honestly, I have to say, Boot, like, you were really proud of yourself with your longbow shot, and Ma just hammered this other ant. And suddenly you don't feel like your shot was as impressive as it was a minute ago.
I'm bring my hand to my mouth and just do a. I still got it.
One of your denture tusk kind of jiggles as you blow. All right, cool. So we are back to the top of the order. The ant with the arrow still sticking out of its back is going to turn and scuttle directly towards Boot, who has fired at it, and that is actually going to use its movement coming to engage with Boot. So it is still going to end its turn, probably about 25 feet from you, Boot. But that will be the the movement of the first ant.
So does that mean that ant is closer to me now?
It is, yes. It used it, so it's about 25 feet from you. From you and Boot.
Right. So
no, take that back because you dashed. You're actually probably within about you're probably within about 15 feet of it.
All right. So I'm gonna close the gap, and I brought my great axe with me this time because I bring my great axe hunting.
Yeah.
Because it's a little bit more
a little
heavy
great axe hunting.
Right. So it's a little bit more heavy duty, and I'm gonna run up on it. I'm gonna just make this really loud battle call, and I'm just gonna try to chop off this ant's head. So.
I want to hear Enid's battle call.
Ah! That's it.
That's it.
So that is going to be a 17 to hit.
That definitely hits.
Right. And I'm gonna... That will be 8 damage.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay,
then
cool.
I will do a second attack as well. So that is a 16 to hit.
That hits also.
And that I rolled a 12. So 12 plus 4, that is 16.
So you take this ant's head off cleanly. Just like honestly, with the skill that the other ant took the woman fleeing to her car's head off with. So you 2 quick chops, chop, and the head just separates from the body, and the ant's belly just falls to the ground, and then the rest of its exoskeleton hits the dirt.
Andy, would you say a bunch of hemolymph goes all over the place?
Yeah, there's hemolymph pours out of it pours out with like it looks like Campbell's soup. Like if you're old school nerd like me, you remember the original Clash of the Titans movie when Perseus kills Medusa, the claymation Medusa, and like the thick, just ridiculously thick blood pours out. I was scarred by that when I was a kid. It's like that, except it's yellow instead of red. So that is it. Enid, big smile on your face because you just decapitated this ant, and it is ant number 2's turn. Ant number 2 sees what is happening and tries to turn and change its angle to head back towards the opening that it came through, that you guys also came through. So it is now sort of mostly bearing towards you, but a bit back behind you, going back, you can tell the way that it came, and it is going to use its action to move that way. And so it's still going to be about 50, 60 feet away from you guys, moving past you as it tries to get back to the opening where it came from.
And Andy, it actually only took 10 damage. I don't add a modifier to Eldritch Blast like I did. Okay,
so 10. All right, cool. So 10 instead of 12 on the last round.
Correct.
Perfect. So it's still moving pretty well. But after one blast of Eldritch Blast, it has decided it would like to, especially watching the other ant lose its head fairly quickly. It would like to go home, is what it's decided, and it is moving rapidly that way.
All right,
Ma, it's your turn.
I think you might have skipped me, Andy.
Did I? Golly, I'm all right. I promise to do better. All right,
it's okay.
So all of that happened. It's not Ma's turn. It is Boot's turn. My fault.
No, I kept my mouth shut because you put the ant in better range for me. So, so I'm gonna just shoot at that ant.
All right, yes, very good. So when my mistake benefits you guys, my tendency is going to be to let it go. When it hurts you guys, I will try to fix it.
And that's going to be a natural 20.
All right, cool. Go ahead and roll me some damage on this thing. So the way that we're doing nat 20s, I don't know if I don't know if we've had nat 20s in combat before.
I don't think we have yet.
Yeah, I don't think we have. So just so everybody knows, the way that I like nat 20s, I like crits. I feel like a nat 20 should always lead to something good. And so what I do is, let's say that you have a 1d8 damage and you crit, you get a nat 20. What I am going to do is have you roll your d8 for regular damage, and then we are going to add 8 points of damage to it. So if you're rolling a 1d6, you just straight up roll it the way you would, and we're going to add 6 more points to it. If you're rolling a 12, roll your damage, we're going to add 12 to it. But that way you get 1 full dice worth of extra damage for your crit. So that's how I play crits, and that's the plan for this campaign.
All right. Damage 2. So that's going to be 2 plus the D8 plus my normal modifier. So that's going to be 12 total damage.
So 12 points of damage. So you put this arrow right through the ant's head as it tries to scamper by you, and its strange insect reflexes sort of continue to keep it going, but it is stumbling, staggering, definitely trying to move past you guys.
Yeah.
And now it is Maul's turn.
All right. I think Maul's going to aim one last Eldritch Blast and try and just take this ant out before it can get away. All right, and that is going to be a 12.
All right. That actually hits. Yeah, you got it.
It does? Awesome.
Yep.
All right. And now for damage, I got a 2.
That is enough to do it. That is what you needed to get the job done. With an arrow through its head, Meemaw, tell me what this looks like, realizing the damage was a 2.
I think I almost missed with my shot, but it was enough to kind of hit the tip of the arrow and just drive it that much further into the skull of the ant.
That was exactly what it needed. But you act like you meant to do it, so it was almost like a trick shot.
That's right.
Like, yeah.
Man, Maul's so cool.
No, man.
I've had a lot of experiences.
I shot both them ants and didn't kill a single one. I'm not going to lie. I'm a little frustrated right now.
Hey, but we need someone who's going to take out chips so someone else can come in and finish it off. You got your place.
I just feel like that's always me.
Maybe use bigger arrows.
We are out of combat now.
Bigger arrows. Ma, why are you so smart? How are you so smart?
When you're as old as Ma, you learn some things.
Ma, you don't look a day over 200.
Oh.
All right. As you guys glance around, you don't see you see one dead one of the dead burrowing insects, the one that the warlock blew the head off of, is just sticking straight up out of the ground, clearly dead, with its little insect legs just like frozen in place. And you do not see the human fighters anymore.
All right, we helped. Do we go up and engage?
I don't know. It's up to you, Boot. I'll leave that up to you.
I think we need to head back.
I think we should go home. I think we've done enough today. Do you guys? Let's come back and let's explore some more and later on. But I don't want to interfere.
How do
anymore.
we know that this is going to be here when we want to come back? Like, how do we know that? Like, it seems like the ant thingies had a trick to get in and out of this place, but we might not have that luxury if we ever come back. So if you want to do something, if you want to explore, do it now.
Well, if it can disappear on our side, who's to say that if we stay here, we're not going to be able to get back home?
Yeah, true.
Which
I think we need to go back home. I think we need to think about it. And maybe tomorrow we should roll into town and try and gather some information.
I think so too.
And I hate going into town, so
yeah, I'm not a fan.
That.
We got to be real careful who we tell this about, though, because A, they're not going to believe us.
I know.
They're not going to believe us, and two, if they do believe us, they might have ill intent. This might not be on accident. too. And we have to realize that.
Why don't we leave? Get some, just gather our thoughts and then maybe track down those ants that came back into our time. See
Yeah.
where they're taking the bodies.
I think that's a good idea. Let's make some notes. Enid, you're the only one who can really write, so if you could scribble some things down, just make some. I'll draw some pictures of the area. I mean, I feel like I can remember where this is, but
Gotta follow the creek.
just follow the creek.
Bodies.
Yep. Normie.
How do you spell them?
Enid, come on, Enid. You know I can't spell.
I'll do my best.
Just draw a picture so you know, like one of them hieroglyphics.
E-R-M-Y. Norman.
Sounds good to me.
Hey,
And
all
then ant.
I am going to before we go officially, I'm going to take out I don't know, something. I want to take. Hey, Enid, can you write something for me?
Yeah.
Write down Marianne, I'll find you.
Really?
Just please.
Are you writing this in Dwarven, Enid?
I feel like she's heard the story before from Boot, like thousands and thousands of times, and the name Marianne, written in common, makes her realize that she should write it in common.
Gotcha.
That and they look human, so I'm just gonna Marianne. I'll find you. XOXO heart love.
No, don't. Oh God, come on.
Where would you like me to put it?
In my hand.
Just
So I'm gonna take an arrow out and just stick it onto the end of the arrow, and then shoot it straight at the front door of the building.
And roll me a ranged attack on the front door of the building.
You mean the front door that's open?
It's got an AC. I promise you. And it's open.
Well, I hope it's really low because that would be a 7.
You shoot it. It's a long way away, so it's impressive. You hit the building. It smashes through the stained glass window and disappears into the church.
All right, let's go. Let's go.
It's time to go home.
Let's go.
And with that, we will leave our friends today.
Hey guys, that's going to be it for episode 3. You can find the video premiere on Facebook and YouTube on September 14th at 7 p.m. If it's past that date, go to Facebook and YouTube. It's going to be there waiting for you. Episode 4 will be coming out September 21st in both audio and video formats. And we're going to be going back to the Horde party. So no new parties this time, but the same story following off where we left off in episode 1. So if you want, you can go back and listen to episode 1, give yourself a little refresher, and you'll be ready to go when it's time for episode 4. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch at BragPod. That's BRAGPOD. You can find us on YouTube by searching Blue Ridge Adventurer'S Guild. You can find our cast members on the internet: Maddie Fuller on Instagram and Twitter, at MLadvey, that's MLADVEY, Nate Oulette on Twitter, at Omletsky26, that's OmletSky26. You can find myself, Dustin Bays, on Instagram, at DTBays, that's DTBAYS, and our amazing DM, Dr. Andy Roark, on Facebook and Twitter by adding Dr. Andy Roark, and you can listen to his podcast, Cone of Shame, on YouTube and wherever you listen to your podcast. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.